Hey, good morning, everybody. Did you guys get anything? Listen, you got to come and get some pastries. Nutrition drove across the road for us. Right. Thanks for everybody, either in the Zoom or here in the person. We really appreciate these opportunities to have these conversations. I would say Drew and I were talking like over the last year and a half. There's been some really good initiatives that have come from what you guys feed us, right? So the only things that I would always ask for is, if you got an issue with a teacher, this is not the place for it. You got an issue with a kid, this is not the place for it, right? So, but we'll have those conversations. Just, Kim should be on. Hopefully, we got mentorship at the middle school today. I wish I would have looked at the calendar more closely. And if you haven't been to mentorship day at the middle school, oh my gosh, what an incredible experience that all those students have. So that's the next 4 Wednesdays, I guess, in October.
Yeah.
But there's great energy and a lot of really great engagement from our community and from our students. So I just love it. And it's one of my favorite months of the year. Just October in general is the best month. And it's my wife's birthday month too. So yours too? Okay, well, I didn't realize that there's this birthday month piece. So if you got a chance to either look at some of the updates that I sent a couple weeks ago, we can talk about some of those areas. Or maybe you took the time to watch the video. Hey, come on in.
Sorry,
Hey, you're good. You're
Is
good.
this the cool kid table on the one?
Yeah.
This is. Yeah, feel free to get some pastries, and would love, do we want to spend just like 60 seconds? Let's just go around the Zoom in the room and what grade levels are your kids in, or how long you've been with us. I'm Tom, I'm the executive director. I've got a son in 7th grade. Hey, how are you? And my daughter's a senior here at the Seacoast.
Yeah, and I'm Drew Ward. I'm the principal here at the high school. I've got a sophomore here at the high school, and then I've got a 4th grader who will be at the neighborhood school next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm John Petersick. I've got a 6th grader at middle school and a 10th grader taking a test right out there.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah, as best as you can.
Hi, I'm Christy Calico, and I have a freshman here, and that's our first year, so we're excited.
So first year and
Second year.
Second year
Yeah.
for you guys.
I'm Chris Golden. I have a 9th grader here, and then I have a 7th and 5th grader as well.
Chris Court, my old allergies kill me. My oldest actually just graduated last year. She's at Florida State now.
Oh, wow.
And I have a 5th grader. That's right. I spend a lot of money there now. Then I have a 5th grader and then 2 more kids coming up behind him. He's over at Seaside.
Well, we're so excited to hear about the experience of our students when they go to college, and telling us what we can do better is such a big part. So, Ms. Hillman?
Yes, hello, I have a 7th, I'm Laura Hillman, and I have a 7th and 5th grader at Seaside, and I also teach part-time here, business management and law.
Yeah, she teaches in the room next door. I love it. And if there's anybody in the Zoom who wants to say hi, if you're able to, I could try to go around. I don't want to call it anybody who's not available, but let's see.
I can, I'm Courtney Stubley. I have a 10th grader, a 9th grader, and 2 6th graders.
Love it. Thanks, Courtney. Great kids.
Michelle Crow. I have a senior, a sophomore, and a 6th grader.
Thanks, Michelle. All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Kelly Knuckles. I have a 6th grader, Grant, and a 5th grader next year.
I love it. And she's also our parent liaison. So
Very
thank
true.
you so much. Yeah. Which I just realized, I don't know if we reestablished your email address yet, Kelly. So I'm gonna make sure that we work on that this week.
Action item number 1.
There we go. That's right. Absolutely, for sure. Anybody else in the Zoom want to say hi?
Good
I'm
morning.
Alice. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, Tyler Mosier. I have a 2021 graduate from Seacoast. No, I'm sorry, that's not right. When did she graduate? She's in Tallahassee now, and I have a freshman or sophomore at Seacoast and a 7th or 8th grade boy at Seaside.
Love it. Thanks.
I'm Allison Schnell. I have a 2024 graduate who's now at UCF in Love and Life. And I also have an 8th grader at Seaside who will eventually go to Seacoast.
Love it. All right.
Good morning. I'm Rosa Beth Rios. I have a sophomore and a junior. This is our first year.
Excellent. Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning, I'm Nish. I have a 10th grader and a senior this year.
Yes, thank you so much. Student government president, senior.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, student government president, not just a senior, the student government.
Yes, that's correct.
Anybody else? In there? I love it. So I grabbed a couple of the questions. There were a few that were put on the Google form, and we'll address those. I think, the first one, probably the hottest topic is the traffic. And if you're a high school parent, or you're dropping off your son or daughter here for the middle school. Now, yesterday, I sent an email. I didn't mean it to be so direct, but I saw these messages and I was like, oh, well, just don't cross 331. I didn't mean to be rude about it, but we have, since probably January of 24, been working with the FDOT and the local police department and asking them. And they did do a survey last year, and they basically come up with an analysis that there's not enough, traffic or impact. But they did put in a blinking light that slows the speed of 35 miles an hour, but it's really just kind of for the turning lane. And we have recommunicated with them with the growth of the school. And so we're waiting kind of reply when are they coming back out to evaluate. The recommendation that we got basically from them was what I said, is they said, if you're on 98, just keep on going down, make a right on JD Miller. If you're on 98 coming around, make a U-turn and go down, JD Miller. Right. So anything you could do to not have to go across the road, because we do not, place the sheriff's, right? We do not place the deputies. We can't even move our SRT. He has a role and he's not able to go somewhere else. Because believe me, I've asked him, can you go here and help me with traffic? Because I don't want to stand out there, and I don't want Miss Peterson to stand out there either, but we're the ones doing it, right? So we are working on it. And as we get within the next 2 weeks, all the construction should be completely gone. And so we will have more room internally, right, to move cars, but that doesn't seem to be the issue. The issue seems to be the external part that we really don't have a lot of control over right now. So I appreciate all the emails and the thoughts of what we are working on it. And we want to go through the proper chain of command for that. But they're basically said, look, just if you want to go where a police officer is, then pull into South Walton High School and come all the way down Greenway. If you don't want to turn over 331 or 98, make a U-turn or find a different path there. So that is the best result we have now. We certainly worry about, because January we'll start to have some 10th grade drivers, more 10th grade drivers. So I know hope is not a strategy, but we're in hopes that by then there's either an extension of the school zone. That's one. Or two, there's another officer who's in one place every day that we can pretty much count on. But otherwise, right, we are kind of in that mode right now. But now with the college, we can try to get them higher involved as well. So hopefully we can lean and put enough pressure that they just make the right decision for all the kids and all the drivers. I think we've been pretty fortunate not to have too many issues, but I think there was one accident maybe a couple weeks ago. It wasn't one of our folks, but what we've seen is that cars come off over the bridge, they get put in the school zone, they wait, and then they speed up to get to the next light, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but they do. But we're trying to get across as they're, speeding. So we are working on it. I promise. Not a day goes by that we don't have some conversation about traffic flow. How do we get people on and off campus? But for everybody's understanding, we will never leave a kid unattended. So if you're late, just let us know. We'll call you, be like, hey, is somebody coming? We do have folks on campus here by 7:20. It's not like the supervision, but there are adults here. So if you got to come earlier, right? So we are trying to really work with you and be very, very flexible, but we'll always ensure safety to the best of our ability for all these pieces. So I'm happy to open it up. I don't know if we need more ideas at this point. We just really need. I just want you to know we are working on it. We're not ignoring it. But on campus, traffic is actually flowing really well. So if you're showing up, if you're getting marked tardy, then I would just really think, how can I differently come, to campus? Cause I drove this morning and I went straight. It's about 1/10 of a mile more, cause I come from like Inlet Beach. It's about 1/10 of a mile more to go to JD Miller. So maybe another, quarter of a mile more could probably save you 7 minutes. Lee does say that when he takes the bus out, that it's hard. So there is a lot of traffic on JD Miller because there's a lot of people coming, not just for our school, but obviously South Walton High School. So I'm gonna try to camp myself out there, see what it looks like, and see if I can't continue to offer information to the FDOT. And that would actually be local, so that would actually be our, county folks. But anyway, anybody want a thought or a share on that? Okay.
I think it's also just.
I would-
I think it's also like where the South Walton, come up this way, it's not just on 331, it's also like after you turn left, cause I'm the one that does that light as well.
Mhm.
And then when you get to that stop sign, you're going left, you stop and go stop sign, but I guess that they don't stop and they just keep going. Does that make sense? Like right here in front of like the new part of the school? Yeah, cause I don't think they have a stop sign.
They don't have a stop sign.
Yeah, and that's a little confusing because, like you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna stop and
Yeah.
then they're gonna stop, but they don't have a stop sign.
They don't have, and that was
So-
another idea by, someone.
I did see a security guard from the college that was out there yesterday.
Yeah, we're
He's
trying
out
to
there.
put an adult out there every day to just help. When Drew and I stand out there, it seems like it rolls really well and the adults do great job car after car. Sometimes when we're not out there is when it turns into
Yes, and I didn't,
7 in a row,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
and I guess it was just a new thing. I was like, oh, they're not stopping.
No, they've never had a stop sign,
Okay.
no, but as more cars come down that way, that's what we can expect is probably gonna be, harder to get, folks across the bridge and the stop sign, which blocks up the traffic on the other side too. So,
That's all
yeah,
right.
so we're trying to get an adult out there every day, to do that, so, yeah, good point. There was someone on the Zoom was gonna say something.
I would also remind student drivers to go that route as well. I've always had my kids go that route, but I just feel like, like you said, Tom, it's safer, but sometimes kids like to take the shortcut. So just as parents of student drivers, just remind your kids to take the longer route.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll add that too. Drew can get a message out to
Yeah.
people who have, and then we can talk to, our like SRD team and see is there, like a student driver safety course. I mean, is there things we could do to just help them be more aware? Because we will over the next, 2 years, continue to increase the number of cars on this campus. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Okay, and one thing we could do is, it might be hard, we could talk to the college about, can you push your first class to 8:30 or 9?
Right.
And that, mitigates 100 people,
Yeah.
sometimes more.
Yep.
As well, but.
Or since some of it is South Walton as well, could we use any of their program that they have with the student drivers?
With their actual, like, their
Yeah.
driver's ed course? Well, that's just something, I was just, saying something extra, something supplemental, because they did a safety course for us, last.
Over the summer.
Over the summertime.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just an add-on. Yeah, it's good. What we're super proud of the first, 30 days though, 170, 180 new, students, 33% new staff, a lot of new, programs, like just a lot of moving parts, right? So we're learning every day and we're, growing every day and we're, trying to get all these new, personalities, understanding like the history of the school and kind of where we're going. But our administrative team, when I first started, and I'll call admin as like non-instructional, there was 4 of us, maybe. There's 17 of us now. So there's a lot of experts in areas that we didn't have. So we have our college and career advisor. Well, we always had, counselors, but we didn't really have someone focused on college and career. We've never had an on-site daily technology director. We have that now. We didn't have a bus driver. We have a bus driver and a facilities manager. Now I need a second, facilities guy because he spends a lot of, he spends half his day on the bus and now he's got 2.5 major, facilities, right? So we'll continue to grow those roles. So we have kind of put some messages out there and we've been really excited about some of the dads and moms that have helped build things. We're looking for someone to help us get all the walls kind of where we want on all the floors. So thank you for your help. But if you've got a talent that you can offer to us, whether it's in the classroom, or to improve the experience of our students, right? Or to improve the aesthetics of everything, let us know, because we're having a couple dads help us with some athletic kind of, storage spaces, because if you came in the first floor, you may have seen there's a lot of just like lacrosse sticks and bags, and that's not what we want, right? We want everything to be kind of neat and tight and safe, so. So that's been a lot of new stuff, but everything is going well with the building. Someone asked about the construction update, so in the front of the facility will be a giant courtyard, just like you see in front of the college, that extend that green AstroTurf kind of look. And that's where we'll start to move all the students' lunch and hangout space will be out there for the high school. And then there will be a large stage that I think they're going to pour the concrete within the next day or two. And I believe it's still the expectation that the theater production is going to be there for the first one, which is in late October. So that will be that. And then we need to start to allow the grass to grow out here. We're going to put a fence along the backside of campus, and then build a clear like a pathway for high school students to be able to walk the South Walton kind of around the courtyard and up, because they like to take this walkway, but they're walking right through the berm and what we're trying to, conserve, and eventually it'll be a retention basin, so they'll get muddy. So we want to build a nice, easy path that's safe and we know where they are for them. But it's going to be great when the courtyard's done. It'll be a wide open experience. We'll be able to bring everybody closer to campus, which will basically eliminate us from using the old college facility restrooms. So we'll have, better supervision too.
Yeah.
As well. So someone's trying to get oops, Kim. Any questions about the courtyard or the updates on the facilities? There will be some work done at the middle school as well. There is a plan to have a shade over the back end of the Lyceum, which was always part of the original plan. So they're right now they're doing some evaluation to see how that would work. So we may have some spring or late winter, spring construction over there. And we'll know more soon. We're kind of on their calendar with that. And then we will paint the outside of the buildings as well and replace the carpet over the next year. So that within a 3-year span, we've changed or amended all the floors. Everything internally has been painted, and then everything externally will be painted, and we'll change the carpets. And then we've replaced all of the smart boards. So every classroom in the school now has one of these virtual boards. So it's middle school and high school, a lot more engaging than the boards we had previously. And then through the Triumph grants and some other grants and sponsorships, we've replaced almost every device in the school as well. So now it's about building a maintenance plan for every device in the school, because we're trying to build a one-on-one initiative. So we've got 600 students. So potentially we have, I'm going to guess, somewhere between 650 and 700 devices right now. So
Where are they putting the awning, you said?
there's a shade. So where the stage is now, there was some like original plan to have like a shading above that, which may or may not, we may not need the tent anymore. I'm not really sure what it's going to look like.
Is there any possibility to get awnings like over picnic tables or what? Like, where do the kids go if it rains for lunch?
They either eat inside or they go under the tent.
There is a place to
Yeah,
go inside.
and along the outside, if you're sitting along the outside, like unless it's like a downpour, like it's covered and dry. So yeah. But here, are you asking?
Yeah, like don't the kids eat in the courtyard? for
Yeah, they
lunch?
do. So it's the same situation here.
Yeah.
We would go inside, but we will, when the stage is done, we will, that'll be a next step. Like, how do we cover the stage? It wasn't part of the original, plan to have it covered, but we would like to have some sort of, shading. Maybe it's those, triangle kind of shade or something to that effect. Yeah.
The sails.
Yeah, the sails.
Luckily, we've only had one rainy lunch so far. But what we did is we just had them stay in their rooms for lunch, and a lot of kids, the staff basically brought them out there on the patio, like the patio, the walkway out there, and they ate outside. Yeah.
I noticed at Seaside, whenever the kids have their book bags outside before lunch, sometimes they're in the direct sun, and for those kids that only eat, like salad or something like a cheese or something. When it comes to lunchtime, it's very nasty for them, and I understand that. So, I mean, I've tried to also do like different freezer things, some say, but is there any way that we can maybe rethink where we're putting book bags whenever we're putting them outside? I don't know if you are familiar, like with that area, but that sun just beats right there, and if it's the lunch.
At the neighborhood school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a matter of your son or daughter knowing not to do that, or just, finding shade, but we can certainly look at it, Laura.
Okay.
I don't know why bags are outside. They might be outside for like PE class if they have that, prior to lunch, but there's not too many times, and I think Kim's there. Kim?
I'm here.
Go ahead, did you hear, I don't know if you heard the question or not.
I did. So bags are outside very much for PE, but they are also outside for art, just because there's just not room for kids and bags and art. One of the solutions that we're working on is having those bags go into the locker room rather than be outside. Space is difficult for that as well, but I do understand the problem, and we are working on it. And I do think that, especially for the art situation, the locker room is going to most likely be our best alternative to having the bags outside. But that's why they're outside. It's just there's not enough room in that art room for the kids and the bags and the tables. So we're working on a solution.
For the before lunch. And,
Yeah, I get
and
it.
then I say, why didn't you eat your salad? I've spent all this time, trying to chop all this stuff up, and then
They have a hot
she
lunch.
comes home hungry,
They got hot lunch, right?
Yes,
So-
she's just a picky eater,
Yeah,
so, we've been
that's-
trying to rethink other things. but
Okay, no, those are good points.
Yep.
My son's okay, cause he has hot pasta, so he loves it, but, just other ones.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of lunch, does the high school here, do they have a microwave that the kids are allowed to use?
We don't have any microwaves on campus.
Is it possible to get one at some point, or?
I don't know where we would put it. In the past, we had one on a rolling cart. The issue that we had was,
Stuff exploding.
well, it was that, and then where to put it afterwards. And so what we were doing is we had a staff room that was over at the old building that we could just roll it in, that wasn't into a classroom. We've thought through that, and so if we rolled it out, we would be putting it back inside Smelly into somebody's either classroom or common space. But we've thought about it. We haven't had any great solutions right now, because we are gonna move everything from where we currently are over here. We won't be in those college rooms in any way. And after about the next month.
Yeah, well, there's two things we can check on. One is where to store it, and two is just like regulation, because I'm not sure if we can warm your child's food, right? It'd have to be something they would do themselves. And to Drew's point, I know we had complaints last year because then the microwave, either the kids would warm the food in the classroom and it might create like an after smell, right? Or the microwave went in after. Either way, now they're in a learning environment with, like a couple hours of that, but.
And it starts a line, just the few times, it starts a line, and then like a limited amount of time for lunch, so then it's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we know that it's a problem. We're trying to think about where that.
Yeah.
Would be.
Cell phones are going really well. We just really love, just the leadership that the students are showing. I think we've had very limited issues. We'll talk about uniforms, especially, and I don't want to pick on the girls, but here's what we're finding. Girls are wearing hoodies, zip downs, but underneath they're wearing half shirts. So like they look like they're in uniform until they, step outside or they walk somewhere else. And so we're just asking that moms and dads just see what they're wearing underneath. Right, would help us, and it would probably help them, because that's what we typically see. That, or they're rolling down their pants to create like a space between their shirt and it's, it's not really conversations Drew and I, or, Mr. Bump want to have with them. But we do have an expectation, right, that they meet the dress code, so you could just help us with that. The boys, their issue is the chubby shorts, right? The shorts and their underwear showing under the shorts. So if you can see their underwear on the way out, let them know that they have a problem. And I don't know if we've had any other issues with the boys besides just
Yeah,
shorts.
it's the shorts were the ones that the underwear hangs down past
Yeah,
like
right,
shorts.
right. Right, so any underwear showing is a no-no. And amazingly, some of them wear flip-flops. I don't know how they do it. And I always talk about, just make sure you're taking care of your toes because not everybody wants to see
Yeah.
their toes. And I think right now at the middle school, we're doing pretty good, right, Kim? It's usually the spring where we see the growth. And that's when we start to see shirts are too short or shorts are too short. So I don't know if you have any thoughts around the uniform.
Yeah, uniform's going pretty well. We have done a couple of, and just spoken to several of the girls, but we're really trying to get fingertip length, boys and girls. So it's just, just really talking to them and trying to monitor it, and keep going.
Yep.
Other than that, we're not having any big uniform problems other than just, fingertips.
Academically, it's exciting to celebrate that the school earned Honor School of Excellence again, which is the highest honor you can have in the state of Florida. And that just goes back to one, the tireless work of our teachers, but also all of our students leaning in, right? Because it is a tough school to maintain high school. You got to maintain a 3.0. It's a lot of work, right, to keep that up. But we'll always, there's a lot of initiatives constantly in play to improve the academic experience and the success. So, every day in both schools, except Friday, well, we probably still have it, is some way to tutor, right? Some extra help I can get, okay? So that happens midday here at the high school. We have our SDS time, yeah? So that's a great midday break where kids can either get some work done from the morning or get prepared for their afternoon test, or they can go see a teacher, right? And then we're going to add in other opportunities for them to learn how to take tests, right? Learn how to study. There's just some things we're going to build into it, but really we want to focus on their wellness, most important, right? We don't want them to leave here, really feeling overwhelmed. Same thing with the middle school. There's advisory to, support that. There's tutoring mornings and afternoons, just like here at the high school. But so what we would always ask is if you're seeing signs, right, of, stress or anxiety, let's take a look at how we can help from the 7 hours that they're here. Because you guys, we did a survey last year, and I think it was over 90% of our kids have some sort of after school activity, right? And so how do we help create harmony with that? And we would just ask that there's a chain of command in terms of communication. So if you're upset about something, you don't need to email 8 of us, right? Start with the teacher. If you're not comfortable with that, then you could go to the admin. But sometimes when 7 people get emailed about one situation, here's what typically happens. All 7 care about that kid. So all 7 feel like they need to respond or want to respond. And so when that happens, one of us will just email everybody else and okay, we're gonna address this with the party that it needs to go through first. But please, call, email. There's opportunities, to do that. And we're trying to make sure that our teachers are reaching out verbally, not just through email about, hey, here's what I'm seeing. Here's some challenges. We're trying to be really proactive with the GPAs up here for sure. So, we need your help too, because we don't know everything that goes on at home. Right. There's, text threads. There's always something happening, right? But as a son, or I have a son who's in middle school and a daughter in high school, you just looking at their grades isn't always enough. It's kind of asking, how's it going? Is there an adult on campus that you do trust that you could talk to? But we are working tirelessly. That's again why we increased, staff. We also hired, you may have seen her in here, Megan. So she's serving as a small group. She does small group testing. She teaches math at the middle school, but she'll also work as a testing coordinator. And that was to alleviate the counseling team having to do that work. So they can be there for your son or daughter. right? So we're making some shifts internally to give more time back to the experts who are good at the counseling, right? We're not, we're not counselors. They're licensed in that field. They're not licensed, well, our high school folks are
Yeah.
licensed in mental health.
Yeah, they are.
Right? But we're always going to put you guys in touch with those experts that can help. We don't want people to suffer in silence. So if you're seeing signs, let us know. And I've talked to the counseling team about, hey, how can we equip, the parents more? What could we do? So they are working on some parent university type, support systems. I know Ashley's from the middle school has been sending out, some things and some ideas and thoughts as well. So we know that this is a high performing school, and we know that it sometimes creates a lot of, competition. It's not our goal to ever do that internally, right? And it's not our goal to ever expect every child to get an A on everything that they do. And what I expect from our educators is, hey, like I've gone through the process of they've learned a new concept, they've practiced a new concept. We've worked on that, right? I've assessed them to get to the point where I know they're ready for a unit test or whatever else. And if they don't do well in the unit test, okay, what are we prepared to do to help them get better the next time? We don't want to see kids with 40s, 50s, 60s. Like that's not our goal at all. But right, the older they get too, we do also ask that they start to advocate for themselves and be more like accountable, right? But we'll help them get those, right? Because we're not going to let them fail. It's impossible to walk through here without someone actually saying, how are you, right? How are grades going? And so I know Kim's got her ZAP program. Kim, can you give a 1-minute overview of what ZAP is? I think that's what you're still calling it, right?
Yeah, ZAP is just a program that we're starting this year with, it means zeros are preventable. And so if we have, a student that forgets their homework or doesn't complete an assignment or doesn't turn an assignment in for whatever reason, teachers will send out a little ZAP notice that basically just says, your student is more than welcome to make up this assignment. It won't be for full credit, but they can make up the assignment. They can either make it up before the next Wednesday, and Michelle Curtis and I are here on Wednesdays after school to help with math tutoring or tutoring in science or social studies or whatever they need, but also to give exams or help with projects or help them complete any assignment that they may have missed and get that back to the teacher through the ZAP program so that it can be graded and accounted for. So just some notices to let parents know, hey, this one slipped. We have an opportunity to make it up. So come on in on Wednesday. And if I know it's busy, so if Wednesday's not a good day, they can come in Wednesday at lunch. They just need to let us know. Or they can finish it over the weekend and not worry about coming on Wednesday and just get it back to the teacher.
And then high school, we have the midday, check-in, any other tutoring pieces. And always, Drew and I just talked about this yesterday because we had a situation in the handbook, right? The handbook kind of works through like how many days a student would have to make up work, right? But I think what we read yesterday is that the expectation is that a student's prepared to do work on that, day back. So we just need to be always conscious of that, right? So asking the teacher ahead of time, if you know you're going to be out, if you're sick, it's one thing, but if you take a planned trip and it's been approved by the principal, the expectation is when that kid comes back, like they're ready to go. And it's not, oh, I need 3 days, because of X, Y, Z. And that's not to be harsh, right? That's also anytime that we have a teacher who's got to recreate a test or redo, that's honestly more work on them, or someone who needs to create a Google Classroom, right? We're working on that with our teachers to create alternative exercises and alternative readings and things of that nature. But it is hard sometimes when you give a test and then you have to rebuild it, right? Or redesign it. So any thoughts on the academics, pieces?
I have a question about the
Sure.
SES period.
Yeah.
I'm just curious how that, I know they stay in their classroom that was right before that. And I've seen the
They
notice.
could, yeah.
Yeah, or I've seen
That's
the
an
notice where they can go ask for a
Yeah, it should be prior to the period. So in the mornings or the day before or whenever, they've got these little pink sheets that they go get signed by the teacher that they're going to go to that class. Because what ends up happening sometimes is like, so our math and science teachers usually get bombarded because the kids want the most help in those classes. And if they have a class prior to that, let's just say geometry, she may have 24 kids in that geometry class that all want to stay. And so then it's hard for her to bring any more kids in for that day. Because there's only 24 chairs in the room. So they have to get prior approval to go to that class is what we've asked. Yeah.
And okay.
I was just saying, as it's brand new, right, we're kind of learning, and so
Yeah.
something we talked about yesterday is any student who's in our, like our tier 2, right, so we would just consider like an at-risk, and everybody honestly who's like 3.2, which is crazy, 3.2, right, that's an at-risk kid for us, like, we're like, hey, you've got to go to one extra tutoring, or you've got to go into this
Some
class.
kids,
so we're
we
trying to
tell
work-
them they have to go to this class, which is usually with one of our remediation teachers, Miss Sheets or Miss Glover, which they're both, one of them is a reading specialist and the other one has a math expertise.
And that's a new change for both schools. So both schools now have someone for reading and math who are interventionalists full-time.
Yeah.
Which we've never had that in the past. And we have also one who's a certified in exceptional children on both, campuses as well. So that's just, part of the growth, and we'll have more because we know we're getting more and more kids who need that help.
I was also just curious, are the kids using that as a study period, or is it like a social?
It should,
Yeah.
it should be used as
Right.
that's what it's built into to be. Yeah, it shouldn't, I mean, I'm sure there's kids that have all A's and that are sit there and read, but I mean, it should be something to where they're getting work done. I do think that we are gonna shift from them staying in the class that they were previously in to possibly going back to second period or first. Because what we're seeing is there are kids that want to go to the classes, but the classes are full. So maybe shifting them from third and fifth, or no, sorry, that would be third and sixth. Into like, they go back to their second period class one day and their fourth period class the other day, to give the other kids a chance to be able to go talk to those teachers.
Because the other reason I asked for it, I don't know if there's really enough time. We had a similar period in my high school.
Sure.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
So it was only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it ended up being basically just social period.
Yeah.
But they also at one point extended that to have it was a time when clubs could sort
Yeah,
of meet
yes.
and stuff. And
Yeah.
so I just wondered if that felt appropriate.
Yes.
That's what I just wrote down. It's like,
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that Mr. Chad, he's building that IT lab, and whenever that's all done, it's gonna be incredible. But he's gonna run his STEAM club during that time, but I think there's opportunities for other clubs to meet as well. We're talking about doing something with drones and having kids sign up. And I do know that Mindy, right now she's with the 11th, 12th grade, Miss Larson. She's our college and career counselor. She's specifically working with the 11th and 12th graders, but here in the next 9 weeks, she will start working with the 10th graders on getting them onto Zello, which it's a program where it kind of matches with their either college readiness or also it gets them interested in different careers. They take a test and it gives them like an idea of careers that they may be interested in later down the road. So she'll also start having those boot camps, ACT, SAT boot camps and stuff during that time too, for the kids that they don't probably need a lot of help. They're already knocking it out of the park. You know what I mean? They're ready for the next level, which will free up room for kids that actually do need, to sit in the room. Because we are finding log jams of kids that are wanting to get here. And the reason why we started the STS period, just to give you guys some background knowledge, we did a student survey at the end of last year, and the kids were we have a ton of tutoring, which we still pay. I think we're probably one of the only school systems that still pay our teachers to tutor. So we had a bunch of teachers tutoring before and after school. Some kids were having transportation issues getting here early enough, right, for it to be meaningful. And then kids that were in after school sports or band or clubs or whatever, so then they couldn't make it after school. So they asked for something to be like a study hall or a homeroom or something like that. So I stole this idea from the collegiate school in Niceville, and that's what this is a period that they run, and they had some success running. So we built it in so that every kid would have a chance to go to tutoring. So we're trying to work the kinks out a little bit, because we don't want it to be just like a social period.
I mean, in our household, it seems to be like a great period, but I was just curious because I only have one perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Probably
sure-
80-20. I mean.
Yeah, it's probably 80-20.
Every classroom is different. Of course, like my classroom is only 12. It's right out here. And I mean, Dr. Miller's like, oh, what are they doing? Like, like they're all quiet, so it depends on every day. And I can tell like whenever like those ones that do want to focus and zone in, whenever those ones are, like making little, then that causes them a frustration.
Yeah.
So I try to, so I feel like the environment, as long as the teacher, like maybe puts on some type of a focus music or, just kind of sets the stage of, like, and goes around and says like, what are you working on? What are you working on? Do you want to work on somebody with someone else? So I feel like as long as the teacher can take the initiative rather than just like be like, okay, whatever you want to do,
You can really tell when unit tests are, because that's when like you go into the room and like all the kids
Yes,
are
like,
studying
yeah.
very quietly and
Yeah.
intensely.
And how we like to use that time too is let's teach them test taking strategies, because when they want to be a doctor, they're gonna have to know how to do well in a test, right?
Yeah.
Get their license. But also we talked about, do kids know how to study? And are we, like, if we ask them to study, like, do they know how? I never know how to study, and it shows. But like, it's important. So those are the things we're kind of looking at. Plus we're looking at, I've got a couple students who want to take on their own certifications. So we've got like a medical research club starting, so that could be time that they could do that and the school's going to pay for them to do it. So I think that's just an opportunity for kids to advance themselves, right? But then also to get the help that they need.
Yeah.
Do this other.
Me and Tom were talking actually this last week about possibly seeing if we could bring some older students, 11th, 12th grade students that we may be able to pay them. We don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
But to also alleviate some of the teachers that don't have enough room. We have kids that are exceptionally, talented in the sciences and in math that would do a great job tutoring, and sometimes just hearing it from a peer, helps them learn it, and just rehearing it from the teacher that they may not, have grasped it all, and maybe finding little tricks that the upperclassmen learn, but like this is how they're teaching it, but I learned how to do it this way.
Yeah.
So
College tutors, we're gonna.
we're
really
talking
start
about
hiring
hiring students. Yeah, we're talking about hiring students. So it's
Kim, hey Kim, in our last like 10 minutes, you want to give a kind of like next 90-day vision for the middle school, what your parents can expect and anything for the rest of the year? If she's
Sure. So right now we had our first day of mentoring, so we're looking forward to a great mentoring session for this year. And we'll go through October. As far as arts and things like that go, we've got Winterfest coming up, Thanksgiving coming up, and 8th grade trip coming up, as well as the 5th grade trip to SeaWorld. So all of those things are, in the works. Academically, we're going to continue our work as a staff on doing some action research projects, and each of our teachers have determined an area that they want to grow in. And so they're going to be collecting some data and trying some new strategies out in the classroom, which we're all really looking forward to. And then I think just generally we're working on doing a great job with our MTSS process and catching kids who are starting to struggle or fall behind and get them back to where they need to be, but then also looking at our students who need to stretch and grow maybe at a different rate, a faster rate, and give them the opportunity to move forward at a pace that's more comfortable for them. So lots of things going on, just a busy time for the year, but an exciting time as well.
Yeah, I really love what the middle school staff is starting to do to enrich and catch up. You may or may not know this, but not every kid who comes to Seaside is at grade level, right? And that's fine. And that's the way it should be. And we are definitely finding here at the high school that a high percentage of kids who came from either homeschool or like a private school or even like a district school, like haven't had all the rungs of their ladder built, and that's where we really want to focus. But in addition, how do we advance, the students that are ready? So this is the second year in a row we've had middle school kids come to high school for a high school course. And so they already have high school courses there, right? But they're actually at a point in a couple of years where some of the high school classes we offer here will have to have a teacher down on Seaside's campus. So we are, really looking at, teaching all kids where they are and not just, placing a kid in a class because those are like what we think they could do. We want them to feel and be, successful wherever they're doing. So great job, Kim, with all that. Drew?
Yeah, so we're starting a big initiative. So if you have a freshman, or a sophomore, really, we're starting some pretty big things here, obviously, because we have the college next door. Right now, we currently have 47 sophomores that are taking college classes. And so generally, those are kids that have already had Algebra 1 and geometry at the middle school. So they come in here with Algebra 2 as a freshman, and then they go over to college for college pre-calc and college algebra. But this year we have actually kids that are taking college pre-calc, college algebra. So one's in the fall and one's in the spring. And then they're also taking college success and intro to business. So they'll actually get 12 college credit hours as sophomores. And next year we're really hoping to get close to 80% of that'll be the current freshmen, sophomores taking at least 2 college classes or at least one, right? We're going to shift that personal financial class to the sophomore grade level. We're finding that the freshman kids don't really have a concept of money really or spending money, and a lot of our sophomores do because they have jobs and cars and they're like getting hit with some real world stuff. So we're going to shift that to more of a grade level accurate time. But the issue with that is it's a semester long class only, so we have to pair it up with another semester long class, which all the classes at the college are semester long. So it would fit really neatly. And it also will get the sophomores exposed to how it is at the college, because it's very different, right? Especially if you're a first generation college kid, they don't have parents at home that tell them what it's like because they don't have the experience. So that's going to be a huge initiative, but to get that to happen, right, they have to have passed all sections of the PERT. So they'll have to be college ready really by March.
Which is another way we can use that middle of the day class.
Yeah. So we've already started PERT testing a lot of our sophomores to get to the college. We're going to start with our freshmen too. That's a huge initiative. And then with our sophomores, something new that we just worked with the college, some feedback we got from kids that have graduated college now, that have went off to UF and FSU, and really the kids that were ready to go. One thing that they're finding out is, okay, they got an AA, but they wanted to go pre-med or pre-law or into engineering. They couldn't get into some of those programs initially because they didn't have the prereqs, and they could have had those prereqs if like an advisor at the college would have let them know, hey, this is the major that you want to go into. Instead of taking this biology, you would want to take this biology because it fits into the FSU or UF pre-med track, right? So they're calling them pathways now. So it's still the AA. They'll still get it'll still say the AA, but the pathways are built into like go right into FSU engineering school or right into the UF, med program. So they build out the engineering pathway. They're going to start to build out pre-law, pre-med, and business. And we're doing surveys right now. So your students should have got a survey from Miss Larson. Please have them fill that out because that data is it's super valuable because that's what we're giving to the college for them to staff next door. So we have to have if you really think you're going to want to go into any type of medicine, you'll probably want to take more of the pre-med track. And you'd want to take this class instead of this, even though you still end up with the AA, but it doesn't transfer the same if you go into a program, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It'll also help us choose electives.
Sure.
Here.
Yeah.
Here. And also partners, like we just met with Sacred Heart. They're gonna start to come on campus and do some talks, and we'll be able to go there to, all their areas. So I think this is where we want to shift and move, but having this information, which actually starts in the middle school, actually starts this in eighth grade. And now we'll have an 8th through 11th grade, what are their interests, and then we can start to really gear our course, selection, full or part-time around, the interest of the student community, not just adult interest.
Yeah. And the great thing about being a partner with Northwest Florida is every credit will transfer because it is a state school into the state school system. However, it doesn't guarantee that it will transfer into the program.
Right.
So if you get an AA in the state of Florida, the articulation agreement is they have to accept you into some state school, but they don't have to accept you into the program. So you can get into UF, but you may not get into the pre-med program or the engineering program. And so, you know, to get into those, sometimes you may have to take classes that you could have taken at Northwest Florida. So we're trying to alleviate that. So those are the two big pushes, is to get the kids into the right tracks, and then also for us to get the kids college ready a lot earlier. So I would love to see all of our kids that are sophomores take at least one class. I know that's a lofty goal, but 80% would probably be realistic. And I think we can totally get there, but it will be a push.
If they don't offer the like, if they need a pre-req class and we can't get it here at this campus, will they just go to the other campus?
Yes, they'll go to high school, or it's online, or something of that nature.
And we're working, I know the college is working, talking to other colleges to start to see how they can also maybe bring some classes over here. So there's gonna be some definite expansion over the next year and a half in opportunities. Good, Chris, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, this is just an idea I'm throwing out there. I know my daughter Bella graduated last year, and she's doing a marketing communications, public relations kind of degree at Florida State. But she coming in with her associate, she didn't have all the classes she needed to get directly into the major she wanted. So she has to do like a generic major-ish, do a semester and then take some classes and get back in. So it might, but it's not like law or medicine or all the sexy degrees. But it might be worth checking with, you know, recent graduates saying, hey, what is your experience? Like, what are some classes that you wish you had here that could have helped you be set up? Because a lot of it is like, well, it's not just specific to that, you know, one specific school or one specific major, but like maybe do like a survey of recent grads to see what else there could be. Because it's not just, I mean, I like the math and the finance, like that's my thing. But Bella hates it. But she loves doing like public relations and marketing, and she kind of missed out. And there's maybe a couple of classes looking back that she could have done better and set herself up. It's not anybody's fault.
No, yeah, you're right. And
look at not just
But that's why we're having those better meetings. That was one of the things I was gonna say, is that, you know, the partnerships, us and the college is improving. Us and Seaside is improving. Us and Walton County School System is fine. We'll talk about some things in a second. But that's part of what we want to do. Like my daughter, not to call her out, you know, she won't listen to this anyway. She's taking an online biology class. She wants to possibly be a dermatologist. She just learned that it's not going to count because there's no lab to it. She's like, oh, I got to retake this class. I hate it. Right. So, but if maybe, right, to Drew's earlier point, if we would have had better engagement with the college advisor, the Northwest advisor, and not just our advisors, we may have gotten a better, like, oh no, you probably don't want to take that class. To your daughter's point too, right? So I think those things could help us, and that's what we want to do, is we don't want you to just get 60 credits. We want you to get 60 credits that mean something to you, but first and foremost, graduate high school. So you gotta take classes that get you that diploma. So that's where I think, and I'm just like assuming that the relationship maybe wasn't always there, because the college advisor is gonna say, take this. Where it's like, oh, no, but you gotta graduate high school, and that's not gonna get you there. So we just need to make sure we're on the same page, but Drew's done a good job with the team to start those. So each month now, we meet with the academic team of the college. Each month I meet with leadership of the town of Seaside, where we want to create like a cadence with the school system as well. We'll see what that kind of looks like, because they're also going through some heavy changes leadership wise as well. And there's some things that we have to work through that we've always had good relationships with. And I'll just say the number one is that transportation, right? So we may or may not be able to use their, transportation to go on field trips or to go to sports anymore. So we're gonna have to maybe buy a fleet, right, of something to help with that. And so those are just some changes we're gonna have, because everything evolves, right? And we're just gonna have to accept it. We've had a partnership for 30 years and now it just may shift and change, which is okay. We just, those are some things that we just may have to look at. Same thing with, all of our areas, but that's a great point, Chris. And that's what we want. So what we'll do is we're gonna have to send an email to the parents to say, get this to your son or daughter to take the survey and tell us how well we did in prepping you and what we could have done differently. And then join the alumni kind of list, and then we can, kind of stay in touch with them. So,
and we're gonna make it mandatory now for not only our juniors and seniors to meet with the advisors at Northwest Florida, in addition to meeting with our counselors. What they're prepping, we just had a meeting with the college advising team on Monday. And what they're sending their college advisors to do is to go to UF, FSU, you know, the commonly, because they also have a collegiate school from high school.
Right.
Right, and they're hearing the same feedback, right, that we're hearing is, oh, I wish I would have taken this class instead of this, because I couldn't be in the program. So that's kind of why they're piloting the different pathways. But their advisors are also getting coached up on, okay, this will transfer into UF or FSU. This is exactly the pathway that you would need to go. So it's going to be critical for our team to also work with the advisors at Northwest Florida, because they're going to be the ones that are really talking to the colleges, you know what I mean, and getting them prepped with that, in addition to our high school counselors. Because there's always been a little bit of like, the advisors are just telling them what classes they need for the AA and beyond, but then it doesn't match up with graduation requirements for the high school level. So that's why we're having this big collaboration talk, so that they get both sides of it. So, you know, we're the experts in getting them graduated, and they're the experts in post-secondary. So, we're working on that.
Yeah, I love that. And so to say, like, Bella feels like she was not set up for success. Like,
Sure.
she's blown a lot of her classmates out of the water
Yeah.
with the education that she got here.
Sure.
And she literally she blows a lot of those kids out of the water.
Yeah.
So kudos for what you guys have done for that.
Yeah.
It's just a couple of small things.
Oh, yeah, well, it could be better, and we've heard it, you're not the only ones,
Yeah.
this is something that the kids are coming back, saying, so.
Good intentions, now we're moving towards intentional action. What
Yeah.
does this actually look like?
Yeah.
I have one. Sorry. I have
Go ahead.
one question about that. So I know, telling a 15, 16-year-old, you need to know what you want to do when you grow up is extremely difficult for them to narrow it down to just one thing. Because they'll say, well, I don't like math or science, so I don't want to do anything related to that, and it's really hard to narrow that down. Are the counselors now focusing a lot on that with the students earlier in their
Yeah.
high school paths?
Yeah, so we actually hired Miss Larson. Prior to coming to us, she was a principal at a school in Colorado, and then she started a consulting firm, which basically did just that, is getting kids involved. We've also got involved with Zello, and that's a program that starts to get them involved, putting some of their credentials in there and taking different surveys to see what different, careers they may be interested in. And we're also going to start partnering some of the kids up with internships, so they'll be able to get some like hands-on experience and learn if they actually like doing those things or not. So that's all.
Call it shadowing.
Yeah,
It's not
shadowing. So yeah, not internships.
Our
but
world of
shadowing.
internships is different from the now world of
Yeah,
internships.
yeah, it's more shadowing.
Exposure, shadowing.
Yeah, but we're working on those initiatives with Miss Larson. That's literally all she was hired to do, was college and career readiness. She is our third counselor, so she can help out with the counseling piece too. But she's taken that off of our two counselors' plate. She's really doing all the ACT, SAT prep, Common App stuff, writing college essays, and then also move into that experience piece to where kids will be able to.
We also hired Kelly Jo Kilberg, who used to be the CEO of the Walton County Chamber, who has amazing connections. And so she's helping me with the entrepreneur and the leadership program in alignment with the college and career. So now we can find, professionals and professions for our students to actually go to and, line up with. So I hear your point, Dr. Schnell, like there's, two things here. One, we don't want a student to go get a, degree that they don't love. And two, we don't want to force them, like, you have to know what you're doing at, 15. It's like, how can we equip them to make the best decision for whatever path that they end up, choosing? And how could they potentially take advantage of the college courses either at Northwest or maybe somewhere else, like this, group of students that we're doing this medical research, a program with, like, this is something they brought to me. I was like, we will invest back in you. Here's my expectations. And they may or may not like it, right? But that either helps them or saves them, right? Either, creates a path for them that they want, or it's like, oh, I definitely don't want that at all. But then when we have great leaders like you and, in the community as well, like, how can you guys help us back? Like, that's why I'm kind of asking those surveys. What do you do? What would you be willing, to do? Could someone come and, come to your facility? And, or would you be willing to come and be one of our keynote speakers? So in January, we're relaunching, some of you may or may not remember, we tried this when I first started, that kind of Walton speaker series, but it'll be up here. This will be the Entrepreneur and the Leadership Center. And in January, we're gonna relaunch that. So each month there will be an opportunity of a professional on campus that will be adults, right? We'll get some workshop and then we'll have them also work with our students and take some next steps. So that'll be an ongoing eight times a year-ish, where we're inviting professionals from across, not just the region, right? Because now we have Zoom type things. We could bring anybody from anywhere to kind of be ambassadors of education and leadership. So that's in January. The STEM program, the Innovation Lab, we've hired a madman in a sense, like Mr. Thurman, if you haven't met Chad. And he's got these kids so excited. Every day they're after school, like, building desks and, trying to get the computers up. It's been a heavy investment financially, and we're really excited about the output of what we're going to get there. So expect that to be launching this month. There was a question about the band program or the Rock Band High School. Yes, I had said, I think at the end of last year, 2026 was the goal. I don't know if it's spring or fall, but Chad would also lead that here. So we really want to focus him on the STEM. Let's get that kicked off. Let's get that moving. And then we could figure out some sort of space. We have had a drum kit donated, so we have it. So we got some equipment here on campus. We don't know where to keep it. We don't know where kids are practicing.
It was microwave.
Yeah, with the
microwave, right? So when construction's done, this second phase, like we can take a bird's eye view, because there will probably be some redesign on phase 3, just based upon, all that was written 5 years ago. And maybe that's not, the reality for us anymore. We know the college is going to be looking at rebuilding some of their older rooms, and that's going to shift some of their, major options down here too. So I would expect over the next, 3 years, there's going to be some real good vision casting and opportunities and some other external partnerships, not just with Northwest, but I expect us to be able to have, partnerships east and west, and bring more, college opportunities here. So,
Hey, Tom.
Yep, go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
So sorry, something that hasn't been touched on yet, but with athletics, it seems like maybe the relationship with South Walton is breaking down a little bit, and we've been using some of those resources and relying on them. And even at the middle school level, they're getting priority over our middle schoolers for fields that we've used for years. So I just didn't know if there was a roadblock happening there that's new, or if that's something that you're actively working through with them.
Yeah, we are actively working on it. I kind of mentioned earlier there's been some changes in the leadership. And I think the last we heard is they may have changed like their insurance policy holder, which said, oh, wait, you're doing what? You're letting who use what? And so I think there's been some shifts there. So we have been in touch with the leadership, and then we want to have clarity so then we can make decisions. So I've just instructed our team, if you've got to get a van, get a van. If you've got to get a charter bus, get a charter bus. We'll just figure it out. Like let's not get into us versus them right now. Let's just get, a clarity. And I think, and that happened with our theater, right? So we're just kind of waiting for them to figure it all out and then give us, direction. It's theirs. I mean, we're our own independent entity, right? So they don't have to do anything, honestly. But it's been great to have 30 years of a lot of partnerships. And I've been very confident that we will get to a point where we're like, okay, this is how we're all going to move forward with this. But we don't want it to be a hindrance at all. And so that's why I've just said, whatever it costs or takes right now, let's just make sure that our kids aren't impacted. And I think we just had something happen yesterday with the fields. And so we're just looking for clarity. And if we got to find another place to do it, we'll just do it. I don't know if that helps. Could be a broad
Well, I
answer
think
to
like
your question.
the soccer tryouts are supposed to happen today at Boys and Girls Club, and our kids ride a bus over there. Obviously, the bus that Mr. Mixon drives. And we just got an email saying that the high school needed the fields, and we had to change to Dune Lakes, which that's going to be a huge transportation issue. And I guess I'm just wondering why they would have priority on a county field, and maybe that's a question that I need to ask somebody else.
That's the first I'm hearing of it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that yet either.
Yeah. So we'll get with our ADs on that. Maybe they've heard Ms. Studley. So I don't know. And again, I don't know all the logistics of how we reserve everything. It's, I mean, I'm involved with lots of details, but not always at that, you know, lower level. Yeah. Things are gonna change. It's, you know, I don't have the best answer. We could just buy up all the land around here. That would probably be.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, there is, you know, plans on this, you know, campus, there is a space, I mean, down the road. And I think that the board and the foundation board and the school board are always looking for how do we continue to expand and advance. We also have to do it very carefully. You know, we are a single entity, right? So we're a nonprofit, 501c3. That's our structure. So we're fiscally responsible for everything we just built, everything we did. So we have to make sure that we're staying viable, you know, for that. And it does get costly when we have to rent more things. And, you know, but the kids are worth it, and we will figure it out. And we'll learn about this. Drew's probably already on it. Looks like he's kind of finding out what's going on. So, and then we do have messages to upper leadership in the school system to have a sit down so we can get some clarity. Because it's not just us is being you know, impacted, because there's also another charter school in Walton, and I'm sure there's other entities that rent from them. So, yeah, I'm sure they're on everybody's list right now. So, yeah. So I promise we will make sure there's a communication out about that. And
Yeah, I know it's not y'all's problem. I just was asking the question because it's, you know, frustrating.
of course, yeah, always is. It'd be easier if everything was always the same, right?
Did this, Courtney, did this come from Joe? I guess I can talk to you offline.
Yeah, I'm happy to chat with you, but yeah, it came from Joe, like, you know, while we were on this call, which is, I don't know why they think they can change a field usage day of with middle schoolers that are relying on public transportation.
We'll give you a shout after this.
And just know that the bus that Mr. Mixon drives, like right now, right, that's not an impact. Like getting kids to and from school is not an issue. It's the activities that seems to be the challenge at this moment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's everything extracurricular, right? Because in our charter agreement with them, they do help with, you know, transportation. So that's not an issue. That also could change when our charter agreement gets, you know, renewed in a couple of years. But right now, that's the case. I don't think I'm saying anything out of turn, right, Kim? I think that's right.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, it's the activity stuff. So, so if you haven't, just to kind of, you know, wrap up, we got Thanksgiving feast. Now we will do it for the first time on both campuses. So we will have an opportunity at the middle school. I know they're all, you know, kind of planning out, but there's just no way we can get 400 additional families down to the Seaside. Seaside may not talk to us anymore. But we are going to build it so a family has the opportunity to go to both. It's not going to be on the same day, so that we don't want to cause any issues with that. So more information to come out around there. I know the Amazing Shakener plans have already started. That's the first week of January. Mentorship program started today. We got the Glavin golf outing on October 13th. So there's still opportunities to donate some silent auction items. And then the race opened up. So that'll be great. And our new director of advancement, Courtney Callie's done a great job of just kind of, you know, grabbing a hold of all this. There's a lot of work there. And so we've built a foundation where there's actually 3.5, you know, members of the team now. We have a community relations, you know, coordinator, that's Allison. And so part of what I'm going to ask Allison to do is to help us with two things. One is the alumni, and the second is with the volunteer hours, to make sure it's easily streamlined. We can capture everybody's hours, and we could email you if you haven't done your hours and say, hey, here's a couple opportunities for you. But we definitely need help for the race and preparing for the race. That's the President's Day weekend. Is that right? Yeah, President's Day weekend.
And Valentine's too. So the race is on Valentine's Day?
Day before. Valentine's Day last year was a Friday, so is it Saturday this year? But the race is Sunday, so right.
Yes.
So next year it might be. Yeah, next year maybe. And then programmatically, this is one of the cool things we've done is we've started to build we want to enrich and expand our you know, our STEM and our entrepreneurship, our theater, right, arts. So we've had some great donors lately donate specifically to a program. And so part of that helps with the capital campaign, but it also helps enrich and expand our programs. So if you know, someone who may be interested in like a 3-year relationship with us, to help build the STEM, program out, or to help with the entrepreneurship programs. There's a whole list of ones that we've got, the Amazing Shake is another, partnership opportunities, or to grow, something down the pipeline, let us know. We love touring folks. We love engaging with them. And we're really looking forward to the next 90 days especially, but we know the years ahead are going to be great as we continue to cast vision at the middle school. And, I continue on this. This is our 30th year of operation. The actual anniversary date is July of 2026. So we're going to, Kim, identify Founders Day. And that will be, whatever day it was, Kim, we can decide. Was it the day that we turned in the application, the day that the application was approved? I don't know, but we're going to call it Founders Day. So we're heading towards that as well. So there's going to be a lot of great kind of 30-year opportunities. So we're always looking for help with, hey, if you want to help plan out 30-year opportunities, if you want to help interior decorate the high school, if you want to build things, we need your help for all sorts of stuff. So keep spreading the word. When we put the woodworking one, I think I got like 12 messages within a minute. So it's going to be great.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. So it's all been good. And then expect in the next 30 days too, we did the student voice surveys last year. We'll do them again in the fall to see how all these new initiatives that Kim and Drew and her teams have put in play are helping. And then we're going to do our first staff climate survey as well this month. So lots of just keeping the pulse in the organization. Anything else from the Zooms? Any other questions here?
And the mentorship program, is that with career, like a career mentorship or like a peer mentorship?
The one that's on campus right now, it's on the Seaside campus. It's a career. So Marianne Lance has led us for years. Kim, you want to? You're a better spokesperson for it. So go ahead.
Sure. The mentoring program, and I'm sorry, we're getting ready to shift out of it, so it may get loud here in just a second. Our mentoring program, we've been running here for years. But basically, our goal is to expose our middle school students to a variety of career options, passions of people in our community. And so we actively recruit entrepreneurs, experts in their fields, people with a passion of some type, and then ask them if they would share that with our students. So then we gather the volunteers. We then go ahead and tell the students, these are the kids, these are the experts we'll have on campus, and we try to match them with their interests. So then on Wednesday in the month of October, we have our mentors come in. They work with their students for an hour and a half each Wednesday in a group of around 12. And then they get to learn a little bit of something that's not necessarily anything they've had exposure to before.
Yeah, and
So
it's everything from like lifeguarding to, right, or to being a doctor to like a fitness instructor or yoga. Like there's all sorts of activities. But then you asked about peer mentorship. We don't have anything like official, but we have started the Compass Crew here is one. And then Kim has her house leadership model where there's house leaders. We don't deem them like official mentors, but like, we hope that they are mentoring. But that could be something, down the road that we look at a little bit more like official. Mentorship's not a title, right? It's always a relationship, right? But we definitely have, students. I think when we work to engage the college tutors, I think that would be a great way to also engage our older students, right, into our younger grades, curriculums. So anything else? All right, well, this was a good one and a long one, an hour and 15. You guys hung in there today, right? And nobody drank any coffee. So, all right, we're good. All right, thanks everybody for taking the time.
Thank you.
We'll do another one before the end of the year. All right, see you.